Nashville app.
And a good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome in. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your day so far. I'm in studio today. Good to see Nick Frazier in the flesh here in the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. What's up, Nick?
Hello. Doing all right, Chase. You know, doing suit duties and also on the radio, if I could speak today. It's one of those days. Let's put it that way.
It's always one of those days, but you know what? That's okay. That's why we do this. I enjoy what I do, and always a busy morning for sure. But Titans training camp still ongoing, as we know. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace will be out there today. As I needed to have some suit duty in this morning and be in the office, but none of you care about that, so that's okay. But I've enjoyed watching practice, and yesterday was the first day with pads, and so you start to get a better idea of things when they put the pads on. But we'll kind of get into today because I think today's even more important than yesterday was. But we start things off as we always do with the Pulse.
Bringing you Nashville's most trending topic.
You can make some noise for that.
It's the Pulse.
The band.
Now with Chase McCabe.
So I don't know about you, Nick, but for any sport, but I think especially baseball, and I take that back. Maybe I put hockey first, but I get hyped for the trade deadline because you always see some moves on deadline day, especially in like hockey, basketball, but also baseball, that you just go, whoa, like either from anticipation and it's more than you anticipated, or just you didn't see it coming at all. Today, of course, is the Major League Baseball trade deadline, 5 o'clock Central Time, and what is going to happen today? Will Shohei Ohtani get traded? They said no, and now here's Buster Olney from ESPN kind of weighing in on it and whether it could happen.
No. Last week, Artie Moreno ordered the front office, basically said, you are not trading Ohtani because from Artie's perspective, even though it feels like the Angels' odds for making the playoffs are really low, his feeling is that, look, my path to potentially re-signing Ohtani, there's only one road I can take, and that's to keep him through the rest of this year and then negotiate with him in free agency and try to outbid teams like the Dodgers, the Padres, et cetera. And so that's what he chose. And once he decided to do that, and Artie basically ordered his front office, look, you can't retreat, then Perry Manasseh, their general manager, his feeling was, if we can't retreat, then we need to add. So they go and trade for Lucas Giolito, Reynoso, a reliever. They also added the other day C.J. Cron, Randall Grichuk, in the face of some really tough odds to make the playoffs. But in this era in which we talk so much about tanking in various sports, there's a part of me that admires what the Angels are doing because they're trying to win.
They are trying to win. I mean, they're 3 games out of the wild card in the American League. And then, let's see, with the division, they're 4.5 games out behind Texas. Now, I don't see them getting past Houston and Texas to win the division, but they could very well make the wild card because, I mean, the wild card race right now, Tampa, hard to believe that Tampa is not the division leader. Baltimore has taken over the AL East for the moment. But Tampa has that, then Houston, then Toronto. But Boston's fighting for a spot. I mean, the Yankees are 3.5 games back, a half game behind the Angels, but I really don't see the Yankees going on a run. I think they're going to miss it. I think Aaron Boone's going to get fired, and because they always got to blame somebody, and then who knows? But the Angels are interesting. And look, if I'm the GM and I'm in the position that they're in, I hang on to Shohei right now. If you think you have a shot at all to re-sign him, and he must think he has a pretty good shot to re-sign him. We know that Shohei Ohtani wants to stay on the West Coast, so that helps.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to sign guys like Randall Grichuk at the trade deadline and CJ Cron, like both of those guys are heavy hitters in the lineup, and including that with Luis Rengifo, Hunter Renfroe, I mean, obviously Mike Trout, but Mitch Moniak, Mike Moniak, I believe. You can add heavy bats like that to that lineup. Why would you not want to re-sign with the Angels?
Yeah, I know. I agree. A texter on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com says, we need your SummerSlam picks. By we, I mean probably just me. Nobody else cares. We'll do that Friday. We'll work in SummerSlam on Friday. We will make that happen. You'll hear a little bit of everything, so you'll hear some wrestling. We'll do that on Friday. Don't you worry. Moving on in the Pulse, a big one for the Women's World Cup and the U.S. Women's National Team. A draw with Portugal. Not ideal, but it is going to be enough to get them into the round of 16. But I thought this was interesting that just 5 points in the group stage, the worst performance in the group stage ever, right? I mean, that's crazy to think about. And Carly Lloyd, who, of course, is a legend, one of the leaders on that team, called it lackluster.
That's the difference that I see. Portugal played to win, and they almost did.
Carly, when you were talking earlier about how the winning doesn't matter as much anymore, I want to make sure I understand what you were saying, because if that's the case right now, and that's not just with this team but with this federation right now, where it's not first and foremost about winning on the field, then that's a massive, massive problem.
It is, and it started to shift post-2020. I think there's just a lot of off-the-field things that are happening, and you never want to take anything for granted. You put on that jersey and you want to give it everything you have for the people that came before you, for the people that are going to come after you. And I'm just not seeing that passion. I'm just seeing a very lackluster, uninspiring, taking it for granted, where winning and training and doing all that you can to be the best possible individual player is not happening.
So is it about, appearances? Is it about fame? Is it about money? Is it about all the other things that have come to this team for now a number of years, and that getting in the way of what has given them ultimately the platform? I just want to make sure I'm clear with what you're saying here.
Well, I think, we saw before the game, the dancing, there's a difference between confidence and arrogance, and I think that's a fine line of where is the direction going with that. It's okay to be confident, but you never want to cross that line of being arrogant, and this is exactly what can come and bite you.
That was Carly Lloyd after the draw against Portugal. If that's the problem right now, I mean, that's a huge problem that, you're not focused on winning. Because, think about how many, world tournaments, whether it's the Olympics or the World Cup, that the players get so fired up for because there's a sense of pride playing for your country. And it sounds from Lloyd's comments, and listen, I'm not following this to a T, like some people are. But, Allie in Bellevue is praising us for talking about baseball and now the Women's World Cup. We try to mix it up and, bring the big stories that are going on. And when I hear comments like that from Carly Lloyd, it's troubling. Go out. They should have the best team, right? Like, they should be the best team in the World Cup.
They should.
But they're not playing like it.
No, you have to also put into factor there's been a lot of player turnover, a lot of youth that has been put into this side, this U.S. women's national team. I do think they haven't really been playing up to par, as everybody's realized. I haven't really been following it as much as you have as well, Chase, but I have realized when you look at the preseason tournaments with this side, along with going into this tournament now, they haven't played up to their high standard where they're putting up 4 to 5 goals a game. Like the first game they played in the Women's World Cup, they were expected to score 6 to 7 goals. They only won like 3-0, I believe.
I'll say this: I cannot stand when I see teams play down to their competition. It annoys me, and we've seen it with the Titans, with the Preds. It happens; it's part of sports. But again, not being the expert, but knowing what I know and having watched the World Cup, both the men's and women's before, I feel like the U.S. should be the top team, and they're not playing like it right now. A cool story, one we've obviously been following since last football season, but the Bills put the pads on yesterday, and that included Damar Hamlin as he's been going through training camp, and he commented on being back in pads again.
For me, it was tough, just first day in pads, but just trying to keep everything as normal as possible. And just having my family there today, that was like that joy, that brightness, just to keep everything in perspective. That I'm gonna be okay. It never was about the first moment of contact, because what happened to me, it was such random, and it was any moment. You know what I'm saying? So, but that feeling, it'll never go away. First day, last day, when I retire, it'll never go away. But like I said, man, my faith is stronger than that fear that's in there. You know what I mean? And when I hit that field, I'm not thinking twice. You know what I mean? I'm going to go make a tackle just like I would any other day, whatever happened to me. I'm rooted in, the love that I received from my family, my teammates, and the love all around the world. It keeps me going. You know what I'm saying? And I got goals that I still want to achieve within this game. What bigger challenge? You know what I mean? It's a challenge. So I'm embracing it.
That was Damar Hamlin, and this whole situation with him is just so inspiring. And I obviously you think about him and for his health, like, is this the right play? Obviously there are a lot of experts out there that wouldn't let him touch a football field again if they didn't think it was okay. But the first thing I thought of when Bronny James had his cardiac arrest, or not the first thing, but, obviously the first thing I thought of was, okay, I hope he's okay. That's most important. Basketball second, Bronny's first. And, the reports have been he's doing okay and he's, out of the hospital and everything. And so now that he's okay from that standpoint, you kind of start thinking of, Damar Hamlin's a prime example of somebody that can come back from a situation like that. Can Bronny, because whenever you see a situation like this, you immediately think, well, they'll never play basketball again. And it just kind of shows you where we're at with medical technology and the things we know. But it's inspiring to see Hamlin back out on the field. And, obviously he's going to be playing. So that's really, really cool. Real quick, to wrap up the pulse, Jim Irsay versus Jonathan Taylor. Everybody has been weighing in on it. Marcus Spears from ESPN had some very interesting comments.
You don't say things like this publicly, and you don't put it out there in the atmosphere. Now, Jonathan Taylor got to walk back into an organization with an owner that says, well, it don't matter if you're here or not. We'll be all right. Time will go on. The league will go on. And in his mind, it's like, okay, so what's my incentive for being here in Indianapolis? This is a huge problem. And as a guy in the locker room, if I was a leader and talking to JT, I would literally tell him, do everything you can to get the hell out of here while trying to get myself out of there as well.
I wonder how much of that's going on. That was Marcus Spears. Because I would imagine there's quite a bit of it. When the owner is creating that kind of turmoil, it's not good. It's not good at all. Now, I don't think Taylor has necessarily played everything the right way. But, and that's generally the case in situations like this. But I have a feeling this is going to get worse before it gets better when it comes to the Colts and Jonathan Taylor. So that is the Pulse today. Coming up next, I heard Mike Vrabel say something yesterday, and it kind of contradicts something I said, but I will tell you why I like it. And I like the tone that he has set. We're up and running here on a Tuesday. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Hear that? That's Jeff Anderson. He's that guy in your neighborhood that's always making improvements to his house, his car, his yard. On your street, it's about keeping up with the Andersons. One thing you don't know is Jeff's tools are from Harbor Freight. Tools at great prices. That circular saw right there, you wouldn't believe the deal he got. Just think, when you're keeping up with the Andersons, you're saving money. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval. 3 days of racing, 3 days of music, one huge weekend event. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is not just a race or a festival, it's an experience. Multiple music stations with Flo Rida, Vince Neil, Chris Jansen, Gavin DeGraw, and more. Fast cars going over 200 miles an hour. And a family fun zone with inflatables, Ferris wheels, kids games, and kid-friendly food trucks. Tickets and premium hospitality are on sale now. Go to MusicCityGP.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event.
Hey y'all, my name is Tiara, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A Spicy Chicken Biscuit is that it has the perfect amount of spice to jumpstart my day. Whoever thought of it, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Robert, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A Spicy Chicken Biscuit is the biscuit. It reminds me of my grandma's homemade biscuit. It's always buttery and savory. Then you add the spices, instant classic.
Order the Spicy Chicken Biscuit on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
All the big plays.
Rebound, try out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need one?
The game. And the Game Nashville app. Chase McCabe is on.
I am not that guy you think I was.
102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're going to start our NFL previews coming up in the next segment, and I'm excited because we're going to talk to an old friend, Tatum Everett, who was at Fox 17 for a long time, now works for the Minnesota Vikings. So there you go. We're going to start with the team that the Titans are going to be practicing with in a couple of weeks, and figure we talk to Tatum and get a preview of the Vikings as they go into a very strange division that is the NFC North. So looking forward to that. In a few minutes, you can weigh in on anything that we're discussing today, 615-737-1025. That is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. So I heard Mike Vrabel yesterday, and speaking of Fox 17, Jill Jelnick, now the sports director, asked this question, and it kind of got my attention because I had made a comment yesterday on the show of like, I like the chippiness, I kind of like the training camp fights, but there's a reason that you're not seeing some of that. This was Mike Vrabel.
That they don't want to get in any scruffs or fights because they'll be sent straight to the sand pit. Is that something you kind of addressed ahead of time, and did you like that battle? And
yeah, I think it's lazy. I think it's, that's dumb that hurts the team. You get thrown out of a game, and so you throw a punch in the game, they're going to throw you out of the game. New York's going to review it. They're going to remove you from the game. So we might as well practice those things now, and try to make it an emphasis that go as hard as you want. Don't throw a punch. Don't be the second guy. They're going to see the second guy retaliate and be a 15-yard penalty. So you might as well practice the way we're hopefully going to play.
Practice the way that you're going to play. I like that. And again, I like the tenacity. I like the chippiness, maybe a little pushing and shoving. That's okay. Intensity. But I think he's right. Don't do dumb bleep that hurts the team. Throwing a punch is going to get you kicked out of the game. Plain and simple. So he set that tone early. He set that tone with the veterans. He set that tone with the rookies, the young guys. And that's the message that he sent. Now, I love that, how Jill asked the question. I love that it's like you'll be sent to the sand pit. If you break the rules, it's like, is this the in Star Wars what was it? The Sarlacc or whatever? Yeah, that Boba Fett gets eaten, and then we find out later he doesn't die. But spoiler alert. But yeah, that's what it feels like. Like Darth Vrabel is like, you will be sentenced to the sand pit of hell or something like that. I don't know, but certainly the message has been sent, and the fact that the players are talking about it, I mean that right there, I mean, shows that they're listening. But Vrabel's thing has always been the don't do dumb bleep to hurt the team, and that I think he knows that there have been times that there have been dumb things that have hurt the team, that have cost them games or put them in a position that they don't want to be in. And so he has set that tone early to try and fix some of those things. And it seems to be that the players are listening to it. I like it.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Here's the problem is that if the Titans do get in a situation this season where they don't have, that discipline, it's going to catch them in between a rock and a hard place. Like, what are you going to do at that point? You're going to have to get in this little limbo of signing small players from the practice squad, bringing them up. So I like the way Vrabel has set the tone at the beginning of the season, as he always does. Like, don't do dumb bleep to hurt the team, because if you do so, you're going to cost the team a big win or two.
Right. Now, Aaron Brewer, he had his portion yesterday where he talked to the media. This I'm okay with, because he brought up that there's been a little trash talk.
We do the job, go back to the huddle. The defense seems to have a little more chatter on their side. You guys ever get tired of hearing from them? And what's the conversation?
No, I love to talk. I love to talk. Like we just pushing each other. It's a little trash talk. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I enjoy it. I go back and forth with Jeff all day. So.
What about Arden? Has he brought something extra to it as well?
Oh yeah, Arden, like he high energy. Like he got that juice. Like. All day, every day. That's just Arden. So, yeah, he for sure got that juice. He talk a little trash here and there. He joke around, but he going to go out there and compete every day.
Nothing wrong with a little trash talk. Little talk a little stuff. You know what I mean?
Love the juice.
Love the juice. And so that's knowing where the line is. Throwing a punch is crossing the line. And, look, there's probably going to be a training camp fight at some point. I mean, it just happens. But, especially back in the old days, I mean, I remember he'll get mad at me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I think B-Hop got him one. I want to say Albert. I mean, like it used to happen. And it just, you go through the moment, you cool off, you say, hey, man, we good, cool, shake it off, hug it out, and then you move on. But that's the tenacity of football. But now, I mean, there's such an emphasis on playing the game the right way and all of that you don't want to get thrown out, and so the trash talk is fine. You just got to know where that line is, and especially with this O-line, I mean, the D-line needs to push the O-line. They need to be talking some trash to the O-line because the O-line's got to get used to it, because right now nobody believes in this offensive line except for them. And so I want to see them get pushed to the limit during training camp, because when they get into the real games, that's exactly what the other D-line is going to be coming at them with. And so you get used to it now, and him and Big Jeff Simmons talking trash to each other, like that's exactly what needs to happen. So I just feel like the tone is set, and I like what I see right now. And talking to people that can actually go, the practices have been happening during our show. And we're not there today, but like it going on right now, are about to start. People that are standing there watching it, I've heard the energy is high, and guys like Arden Key that, Aaron Brewer mentioned, have brought a different kind of energy, which I think is good. And I think that's going to take that. Energy takes you places. So I think that to this point, you got to feel good about that part of it.
I'm sorry. I was going to say something.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, when Jeffrey Simmons was at Mississippi State, they did this thing, like, before every game. He did this, like, chant. It was like, juice me. Oh, juice me up. Like, he did it every time. And, like, when the Titans drafted him, and I've seen it in a few of, like, the Titans promos on social media, like, they've mentioned him saying, like, juice me a few times. So, like, I would not be surprised if he's brought – I mean, that's what they want. They want him to bring that same energy, bring the juice. But, like, that competitive energy – I know when I was playing football – there was some smack talk that was taken back and forth. And, like, the fine line was just leave the moms out of it. And then just everything was just no holds barred at that point. And I love the tone that's set in the Titans training camp. I mean, if I'm out there today, I mean, I won't be. But if I had to put my cleats on and pads on, I feel like I could probably take a few every once in a while.
Well, and Jeffrey Simmons is the king of it. And I love his energy that he brings. So that's it right now. And, you know, what I was saying earlier, I think today is an important day because Vrabel talked about that they're giving them kind of a mock game plan today. So see how they respond. See how they respond to, you know, those plays, who's on the same page. That's kind of where you see where, you know, the quiet time, the study time, where that's coming into play. And so I look forward to getting that report coming up today. And with training camp, Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace will be there after our show. Our training camp coverage is presented by the Simmons Bank Open, Parman Energy, and Cottle Vet Clinic. Coming up next, we start our NFL previews. We're going to go around every day and talk to somebody that covers another team. We're going to start with the NFC North and the Minnesota Vikings. Tatum Everett will join us next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We are changing the game and want to help your bets stay hot this summer at Superbook Sports, the most trusted name in sports betting with a direct line to Las Vegas. Right now, you can use my promo code CHASE, C-H-A-S-E, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, Superbook will match your first bet up to $250 simply by using the promo code CHASE. My name. It is that simple, and they have everything under the sun, whether it's baseball. They got a ton of future bets on pro and college football that you can get. Just download that Superbook app. It's easy to use, right there in the palm of your hand. Use the promo code CHASE to get that $250 courtesy of my friends at Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Nashville is growing, but we remember our roots here.
The fairgrounds, my family and I have so many memories there. It is full of history, it is full of culture, and it is full of Nashville.
There are some folks who want to tear down our historic fairground speedway.
When you do that, you lose part of your story.
Don't tear it down, make it better.
I'm not necessarily a racing fan, but it's a part of the fabric of the neighborhood.
When you lose something, guess what? It doesn't come back.
Don't take away my history.
Let's make sure we don't lose another piece of what makes our city so special.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel stays true to the spirit of Music City, the perfect spot for sports and arena concert fans year-round. Savor Bar Lines Originals, the Bar Line Barbecue Burger or Midtown Mushroom Swiss Burger. Excite your taste buds with the Sobro Grinder with smoked turkey, the Boss Hog with whiskey braised pork butt, and the Angry Chicken, pickle brine fried chicken breast with honey sriracha. Attending an event downtown? Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel, open daily at 11 a.m. is a great way to kick off your afternoon or evening.
Stop by Lincoln Tech's NADC Monday, August 14th through Wednesday, August 16th for their summer open house anytime between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and discover a world of opportunity for you and your future career plans. Meet with admissions, get info about career fields that interest you, take a tour of the campus, and learn about scholarships to help finance your education. Don't miss the open house at Lincoln Tech's NADC August 14th through 16th. Visit lincolntech.edu for additional info. That's lincolntech.edu.
Hey, did you tune in late? It's okay. It happens. You can subscribe to the Chase McCabe podcast wherever you get your podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, doesn't matter. Rate, subscribe, and review today.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
It is Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Today, Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace will be out at training camp here in just a little bit as practice is getting underway for the Titans. But let's talk Minnesota Vikings with our old friend Tatum Everett. Of course, spent a lot of time here at Fox 17. Hello, Tatum. How are you?
Hi, Chase. Doing great. It's camp season, right?
It is camp season, which takes all our time.
All of our time. But you know what? You talk about your show being out at Titans camp. To speak of that. And one thing I do not miss about Nashville is camp summers and how hot it is. Because at least here today, I think a high of like 86, but it won't be humid. So it's not too bad.
See, that's the nice thing. You don't have to deal with the humidity. The heat maybe, but not the humidity. And yes, you're right. At Titans camp, it could be cloudy all around Nashville, but that sun is shining on the practice field.
No doubt about that. I think the Titans are going to be really excited to be in this weather in a couple of weeks for a few days.
Yeah, so the Titans and the Vikings will have joint practices. So I know you're excited to kind of see some people that you used to work with here in Nashville. But you work for the team, you cover the team, and this is the Vikings. I think are kind of the epitome of the NFC North at least for me, a division I just can't figure out. You know, you have prognosticators that look at the Vikings and think they're going to take a step back this year. Where are you at with things in the first few days of training camp and watching the Vikings and what they might be able to do?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting take that everyone has that this team is being so discounted. Like there's no way they're going to repeat as champions. You've got to be careful with the Lions and the Packers will be good, or we don't even know what the Bears look like. And I think it's just very interesting that happens. But I mean, in this building, they're not really concerned about that, obviously. So we're back to business. I mean, Kevin O'Connell in his second year is going to be a more efficient play caller. He knows what to do, what not to do. They had a lot of goals this offseason and tried to mold their staff around those things that they thought needed improvement, while trying to deal with salary cap issues, a lot of highly paid players. And this team looks a lot different, but I think that they feel like they have a lot to prove. And after a 13-win season, it's hard to redo that magic. It really was one of the most spectacular seasons I've ever seen.
And I think the most polarizing player on the Vikings, and maybe one of the most polarizing in the National Football League, is Kirk Cousins. I mean, you read some things like Mike Sando of The Athletic does his quarterback tiers. He has him as a tier 2 quarterback, and then You talk to some people that just don't think – they kind of put him in the same category as Ryan Tannehill, don't think they can win the big one. But what have you seen out of Kirk Cousins as he goes into this camp?
Well, this is the first time Kirk Cousins has the same offensive coordinator and play caller in 6 seasons. So I think having a second-year play caller and second-year offensive system is going to be really key for him. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of you guys watch quarterback, and you can just tell how much work he puts into his studies and how he admittedly had a hard time getting the hang of it for a while. But he's a smart guy, and I think that he feels like he has a lot to prove. His time is coming to it's not coming to an end, but, he's at the back half of his career. And if he wants to take it all home, win a Super Bowl, I think he feels like this is the place to do it with this team and this staff. And time is of the essence. So, he actually sat down with the entire team the other day and shared his entire journey and his story. He spoke to them for about 30 minutes. And apparently it was just an absolutely riveting talk. And so when you've got someone that's taking ownership and leadership of the team like that, I think, with all the new faces and the youth on this team, it's good to see someone with his veteran experience stepping up and showing guys how to be pros. So it always confuses me why people are so polarized by him. But I don't think, when he was on quarterback and he genuinely said, I don't really pay attention to that, I absolutely believe him.
Talking to Tatum Everett about the Minnesota Vikings. The Titans will be there in a few weeks for joint practices and a preseason game. Now, I guess maybe the biggest story with the Vikings this offseason has been the running back position. Dalvin Cook is gone, and so now is the plan running back by committee, or do you see one of these backs kind of taking the reins and becoming that go-to guy?
Yeah, I think Alexander Madison is the go-to guy. I think we're going into camp knowing he will get the first reps. He will be the starter heading into week 1. He's proven as much. While there's just not enough experience behind him, I think, to take that starting job away from him. He didn't want to re-sign somewhere he wouldn't have been a starter. So that was really, really important to him this offseason. He's a guy who's extremely explosive in the ways that he moves. He always manages to move forward. He's like a bowling ball. He just keeps going, which is going to be key because some of the negative feedback for Dalvin was he led the league in negative plays and no gains. And so, you want to see everyone moving forward get better positioned with the chains, right? So I think Alex Madison is the guy here for sure. But I think it's really funny you bring this up because we've got a guy here that Tennessee fans may remember, Ty Chandler. He is a Nashville native, went to NBA, and now he's here in Minnesota. Last season, he was kind of like this. You know how you have those training camp darlings? He was like this preseason training camp darling who just kind of popped off, and he unfortunately suffered an injury and then was inactive a few games, was on the practice squad. But he's been in the building, and I think the staff talks so highly of him. Everyone jokes about how Kevin O'Connell just loves Ty Chandler and really can't wait to see what he can do with him now that he's healthy and he has a season under his belt. So I think a guy to watch is someone you may see a lot more out of. I'm not saying draft him in your fantasy, but for your fantasy teams. But Ty Chandler is definitely someone I would keep my eye on.
Yeah, you read my mind because you probably remember this doing high school football. Friday was tie day at NBA, and then obviously went to Tennessee and later North Carolina. But I was going to ask you about him, and I'm glad to hear that report because he's somebody I always liked, whether it was at NBA or then his time at Tennessee and then North Carolina. So I'm glad to hear he's doing well.
Yeah, I think he's going to really fill a void that Dalvin Cook leaves when it comes to pass catching. He's the only back in that room that really has any of that, has a lot of experience as a pass catching back. And yes, it came in college for him, but I really think that's going to be somewhere that they're going to try. It's all about the air raid offense and this offense being with the West Coast style. Kevin O'Connell loves to pass people, let's be honest. And so I think he's going to be looking to get Ty Chandler out in space.
Tatum Everett is with us. How much did TJ Hawkinson add to the offense when he was acquired last year, and what steps do you see him taking forward this year in the offense?
Yeah, it's funny you mention him because I feel like no one really talks about TJ as much as they should, and how much credit TJ gets for coming in right after he was traded, and then the next game he led the team in catches like 9. I mean, he just walked in there seamlessly. He's such a great presence. Him and Kirk have this innate relationship where they just understand each other, and Kirk fully trusts him. And I mean, he's a big dude. He has a big presence on the field. He has a big personality. I think that tight end room is a really interesting one to watch because TJ, great weapon, but then they added Josh Oliver from the Ravens this offseason. And because the Vikings were like 27th in total yards and rushing last season, they really wanted to shore up the run game. And they added Josh Oliver, who's literally the best run blocking tight end in the league. And now with his presence, and then we also have a third tight end, Johnny Munt, who caught his first touchdown last year in the NFL. That room is a lot more sneakily stacked with talent than people give it credit for.
The wide receiver room obviously is led by Justin Jefferson. Madden gave him the 99 rating for this year. We know what he can do.
Rightfully so, Chase, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, he's special. And, for those of us that like to participate in fantasy football or maybe touchdown parlays, Jefferson is always a part of that. But everybody in the NFL knows that too. So what does the rest of the receiver room look like, also with the addition of Jordan Addison out of USC?
Yeah, I think that's such a great question because everyone is going to be keying on Justin. And one of the things that this staff really wanted to make a point to fix is to get distractions out there so that teams don't just put all of their talent on JJ. All of their, he's not double teamed or in bracket coverage the entire time. So with Adam Thielen gone, it does leave a void, but I think that this is the time for KJ Osborne to really step up and shine. This offseason, the Vikings drafted, as you mentioned, Jordan Addison in the first round. And despite it being a receiver in the first round, KJ didn't get down. He didn't get out. He just went back to work, and he worked really hard. He came back bigger, stronger, faster. He understands his offense. He's an emotional leader for this team. And I do think that Jordan Addison, albeit we've only seen one day of pads and we've seen him sparingly because he did not participate in minicamp. He was struggling with an injury, and so now he's fully 100%. And the guy's shifty. He has great hands. He gets off the line. It looks like JJ. I'm not making any comparisons there. I always have to preface I'm not making any comparisons. But his shiftiness and his ability to be aware of his positioning. So he's been in man coverage all camp, and he's making toe-touching touchdowns, and he knows where he is in his body, and he's reliant. He catches the ball literally every time you throw it to him. So I'm really excited to see how this shakes out because those three are great, but there's also a few more waiting in the wings, like Brandon Powell, who came over from the Rams. He's kind of like a small slot guy who's super fast and can jump really high, which I didn't know until I practiced yesterday when I saw him literally in the air. And Tristan Jackson, someone that this staff really likes. So there's a lot of options there, and that they like to set it up with a 3 receiver set. So I wouldn't be at all shocked to see a lot of action from that room.
Well, certainly going to be interesting, and we will find out a little bit more about the Vikings here in a few weeks when the Titans are there practicing with them. Tatum, it's great to talk to you, my old friend. We miss you here in Nashville, but I know you're thriving in Minnesota. But everybody will see you here in a few weeks.
I cannot wait. Thank you so much for having me, Chase, and thinking about me. I am so proud and just want to say congratulations to you on everything that you've been doing as far as the promotion and the new show and the podcast. I mean, you're basically the hardest working man in Nashville sports. So congratulations and thank you. And I hope to talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And next time you're in Nashville, Ricky says he's buying. So we'll have to do some Nashville nights. Thanks, Tatum.
All right. See ya.
Tatum Everett with the Minnesota Vikings, and appreciate her coming on, and obviously was in Nashville for several years at Fox 17 and now doing big things with Minnesota. I mentioned Mike Sando's quarterback tiers during that and where Kirk Cousins was, but where is Ryan Tannehill? I'm a little surprised. We'll discuss this next. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Midstate Sports summer registration is going on now. Adults can register as an individual or bring their whole team for softball, sand volleyball, soccer, flag football, kickball, and basketball. For more info, visit midstatesports.com. It's no debate. Play Midstate.
Trust your pets with Cottle Vet Clinic in East Nashville in the heart of Inglewood for compassionate care and your fur baby's optimal health. From vaccinations to health checkups with on-site pharmacy, teeth cleaning, grooming, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures, trust Cottle Vet. Now offering boarding. Visit cottlevetclinic.com to learn more. We know you love your pet. And at Cottle Vet Clinic, pets are family.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats, all shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable, but for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
So you're in the middle of a kitchen update, and you can't tell if that's a faucet stem or a flange. With the Home Depot app, doing doesn't miss a beat. It'll find what you need in a snap, and it'll show you how to find it in store with a tap. Or get it delivered free. For doing that doesn't stop, download the Home Depot app. It's made for doing.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds return to start a 6-game series against Durham.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
The suit is in the building. Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Go through it as many times as you have is probably old hat, but how much of a challenge is it with a new offense with Tim Kelly's brought in and with a completely overhauled offensive line to work behind?
Training camp's tough, but training camp is a crucial time of the year to come out and grow as a player and to grow as a team. You know, individually we have to all focus on different things, like I said, that we want to get better at. Then we have to grow as a team. You know, we have to start building that trust, that chemistry, within the offensive line. You know, those guys trusting each other on their combo blocks, in the pass protection. Quarterbacks trusting the offensive line in the pocket. Quarterbacks trusting receivers. Receivers trusting the quarterback that the ball is going to be in the right spot. So it all works together, and it all takes time and repetition to do that. So the fact that we have time is great, but we have to take advantage of the time we have.
That was Ryan Tannehill, Titans quarterback. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, 615-737-1025. Quarterback tiers. Mike Sando, he's done this for years, back to his time at ESPN, now with The Athletic. And you know that he polls different executives, coaches, people within football. So it's not him putting it together. 50 league insiders, 8 general managers, 10 head coaches, 15 coordinators, 10 executives, 4 quarterback coaches, and 3 involved in coaching and analytics. That's how he came up with the tiers this year. And just to go ahead and give it away, and then I'll get to some others, Ryan Tannehill is the 22nd overall quarterback and is in tier 3. Is that where you believe he should be? He got 1 tier 2 vote, 42 tier 3s, 5 tier 4s, 2 tier 5s. I mean, dang. Some quotes from him. Well, this said the Titans talent drain on offense left Tannehill in a difficult situation last season. He did not plummet in quarterback tiers voting, but he did sink deeper within Tier 3. So he was Tier 3 last year. I think the year before he was Tier 2. Quote, would you rather play with him or against him? An exec said. To be honest, he is probably someone I'd rather play against. Those interceptions in the Bengals game could have been the beginning of the end for him. Nobody's going to let that go because he hasn't done anything to make up for it. And that's why he's in the position that he's in. I don't necessarily agree that he's the 22nd, should be the 22nd quarterback in these rankings and be in Tier 3. And by the way, the definition of Tier 3, a Tier 3 quarterback is a legitimate starter but needs a heavier running game and or defensive component to win. A lower volume drop back passing offense suits him best. Now, if we are being honest, I've always said you got to have the right pieces around him. I mean, that's kind of what that describes. And the other quarterbacks in Tier 3 are Kyler Murray, interesting, Derek Carr, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson, Tua, Jimmy G, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, I don't know about that, Justin Fields, and then Mac Jones is just behind him. So, I mean, that's the kind of the category they're in. Now, I mentioned Kirk Cousins. He's the last quarterback in Tier 2 at 12. Obviously, Tier 1 should be no surprise. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Rodgers, Herbert. That's Tier 1. You got any issues with that, Nick? I have no issues with that.
No, Tier 1 is solidified.
Jalen Hurts is at the top of Tier 2. If Jalen does what he did last year, Jalen's going to be in Tier 1 next year. But I think I agree with Tier 2. A Tier 2 quarterback can carry his team sometimes, but not consistently. Not as consistently. He can handle pure passing situations in doses and or possesses other dimensions that are special enough to elevate him above Tier 3. He has a hole or two in his game, whereas Tier 1, the Tier 1 quarterback can carry his team each week. The team wins because of him. He expertly handles pure passing situations. He has no real holes in his game. I think Jalen Hurts is right where he needs to be. 6th best quarterback. Then it's Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford. I don't know if I'd have him 10th at this point. Now, these are experts, but I don't know about that. Then Deshaun Watson, then Kirk Cousins. But do we agree in Tannehill being the 22nd overall quarterback and being deep in Tier 3? Teron Davenport, Titans NFL Nation reporter for ESPN, was on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace yesterday and gave his thoughts.
Ryan Tannehill was put in as a third-tier quarterback, the 22nd ranked quarterback on that list.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Tannehill's being disrespected or maybe underestimated in that list?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you look at quarterbacks, you want a quarterback that has a big arm. Tannehill has a big arm. He throws the ball down the field as well as pretty much he could do it. He could do it with the best of them. The mobility that he has, so underrated. I mean, how many times he was a big reason why the red zone offense was so good in 19, 20, and 21. 19 and 20. 19, 20, 21. 22 last year, yeah, that was last year. But, I think he is definitely underrated. He's a guy that you're in the building with him. Like you talk to outside of Mike Wallace. Outside of Mike Wallace, anybody you talk to that has been on the team with Tannehill always has great things to say about him.
That was Teron Davenport yesterday on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Yeah, I think it's because of that game. Nobody is going to forgive him for that until he does something to make up for it. Whether that's right or wrong, that's just the way it is. And there are Titans fans that like 3 interceptions one game, number 1 seed, lose to the Bengals. I mean, Bengals end up going all the way to the Super Bowl that year, but nobody's going to forgive him for that performance until he does something to make up for it. And where I will agree, outside of the run to the AFC Championship game, which he didn't really do a whole lot during that run. It was Derrick Henry. Now, he made, I remember in Baltimore, he made that big pass to Khalif Raymond. He made the pass to Jonnu Smith that Jonnu caught on his butt in the end zone. So, I mean, he did, he was obviously a part of it, but he was throwing under 200 yards in that. He's got to have the big game, and it has to be in the playoffs. Like, if they make the playoffs this year and he balls out in a game and he throws 3 touchdown passes for like 300 yards and they win because of him, then the narrative probably changes, and depending on how far they go. But that's the problem. It's the great regular season quarterback but hasn't performed in the playoffs. Now, Texter makes an interesting point. Wes in Clarksville. Herbert and Josh Allen choke in the playoffs, and they have them as Tier 1 QBs, but since Tannehill did it, he's a Tier 3 quarterback, question mark. I mean, it's fair. It's a fair question to ask. But, I think Herbert and Josh Allen I would put, obviously, above Ryan Tannehill even in the regular season with their stats. I mean, Allen, I think Allen's a little overrated. I think Allen's good, but I think he's he doesn't take care of the football.
I would say ball security is his number one downfall.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Herbert is, like I said this last week when he got the contract. Herbert, I think, is doing everything he's supposed to do. It's the team and the coach that kind of hurt him. And I think right now people are giving him the benefit of the doubt because of that. So that's where it is. 22nd, Ryan Tannehill. Can that change? Tier 4, by the way, this is kind of interesting. Brock Purdy, Kenny Pickett, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, Gardner Minshew. That is Tier 4. There was no Tier 5 this year. But Minshew Mania, the 30th quarterback. Obviously, they don't put rookies in there. So Mike Sandoz tiers. Coming up next, speaking of quarterbacks and a rookie quarterback at that, evaluating Will Levis to this point in training camp. We'll discuss that next. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Green right, box 2 run, double catch. He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback. Wide 85, take! Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The Nashville Sheriff wants to pay you $55,700 a year. Now hiring correctional officers. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or a GED. Come, join our family and earn $55,700 after paid training and probation. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
All of us at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game want to recognize our active military, veterans, first responders, and educators with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glow, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the
It's 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. Earlier this morning, the U.S. women's national team faced off against Portugal and ended in a 0-0 draw and advanced to the round of 16 in the World Cup. In other news, Denver Broncos wide receiver KJ Hamler is stepping away from football to get treatment for a recently diagnosed heart condition called pericarditis. Broncos could bring Hamler back later in the season if he's cleared. Dallas Cowboys running back Ronald Jones has been suspended the first 2 games of the season for violating the NFL's PED policy. Yesterday, Jonathan Hutton with Outkick joined the Chase McCabe show and discussed Treylon Burks and the potential he has from year 1 to year 2.
It's a cliche thrown around, but it's also true. From year 1 to year 2, that can be the biggest jump in a player's career. And this is the sign that Burks is trying to do everything necessary to put himself in that position.
The Nashville Sounds begin their 6-game home series versus the Durham Bulls tonight. You can listen to the game on 94.9 The Fan. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road. Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mays.
Stone and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Rebound and a score.
Make every play perfect.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
We're going to win the game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Nashville.
The suit is in the building.
Acknowledge me.
Are you ready? Ready? This is Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, live today. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace will be out at training camp. Practice underway right now. Had to do some suit things today, so check in on some things going on out at practice. I know Tehran's been posting a little bit. So let's see. Titans have Kyle Phillips, Karis Jackson, Tajay Spears, Hassan Haskins, Reggie Roberson, Eric Guerrer, backfield and kickoffs. He put that out there. Looks like Corey Levin, Luke Gifford not out today, and Tierra Tart is back after missing yesterday. So we'll play a little bit. The coordinators talked today. So Craig Aukerman, Shane Bowen, Tim Kelly all talked today. We'll play a little bit of all three coming up in just a little bit in case you missed that. Tim Kelly's the one that I'm the most interested in hearing from, obviously putting in the new offense as he takes over as offensive coordinator. Some texters on Ryan Tannehill in the quarterback tiers. Nobody forgives him because when he threw those interceptions against the Bengals, he slammed all of our fingers in the window of opportunity. I've never felt as bad as I did leaving that game. I think that's the general consensus, that people just aren't over that because of the opportunity they had as the 1 seed. And even all the injuries that they faced. And, Henry had been out most of the season. He ends up coming back for that game, which I will say, if we're going to hold on to things, I think Mike Vrabel might have mismanaged the run game a little bit in that game because Derek clearly wasn't 100%. So making him the focal point I don't think was the right move. Another texter says, I think Tannehill gets screwed just for having Derrick Henry on the team. If he didn't have Henry, I bet Tannehill would have 280-plus passing a game. Why the hell would he throw 300 yards with King Henry? I bet Josh Allen wouldn't throw 300 yards with Derrick Henry behind him. That's an interesting point of view. I don't know if that's true or not because are you going to have – now with Treylon Burks and DeAndre Hopkins, maybe that's true. But last year he wouldn't have done that with that receiving group. With Woods and a rookie Burks that, was hurt. A.J. Brown, maybe. But I don't know. That's an interesting point of view.
Yeah, because, last year Robert Woods, I think, had a career low in receiving yards around like 530-plus, something like that. That is an interesting take. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. His stats might be better, but I think overall Derek has made this team the best. He's been the focal point for them. I mentioned Will Levis and evaluating him to this point. You know, some of the talk yesterday in training camp, first day of pads, was Will Levis looked pretty darn good. And he is, I guess, technically getting third-team reps right now. But Mike Vrabel talked about how Levis handles the ups and downs of training camp.
How's Will done kind of managing the ups and downs of this kind of rookie start, and how do you think he did today?
I thought there were some good balls. I thought there were some good decisions down in the red zone. I thought he delivered the ball with some accuracy, tried to push it down the field, and work the concepts that we had going in today just in the red zone. So, take it day by day. There's going to be some good days. There's going to be some bad days, and learn from them and keep progressing. But I thought, offensively, at least from the quarterback position, we got some pretty good work today. They were able to extend some plays or take off and run in the red zone, which we have to be great at defensively, as these quarterbacks that we play against are athletic, and the reward for taking off in a red zone is a touchdown. So we have to be great on our rush lanes and be able to affect the quarterback, but not give up lanes where Malik took off today and Ryan took off once too.
Tight spaces of the red zone maybe favorable for his quick release, Wills?
I hope that the accuracy and the decision making, being on time, and then certainly the release anytime that you can, get rid of the football and make it accurate, that's always going to help.
That was Mike Vrabel yesterday on Will Levis. And, this quarterback competition, but the backup quarterback competition is obviously a fun one to watch right now. And I'm glad that there is one. I'm glad that Malik Willis has made this a competition. I mean, ultimately, even though I kind of had the hot take that Willis could start the year as the 2, and maybe they do that because they don't. And the reason that I brought that up is you don't have to have Levis be the backup. Like, Willis hit the field last year because Tannehill got hurt. I don't want to see Levis touch the field this year. I want to see him on the sideline holding a clipboard. That's one with the earpiece in. And whether he's showing flashes right now, great. Do it again. Be consistent. Don't rush it. Be consistent. And Vrabel and Tim Kelly, Charles London, they're not gonna rush it. But I love that you're getting good reports early in camp, that you can tell that maybe what he was not very good at in OTAs and minicamp, he's worked on during the downtime, and now he's come back to training camp and you see improvement. It's like, okay, that's good. That's what I want to see. If Malik Willis is the backup quarterback to start the year, I don't think that's the end of the world, because it gives Will Levis time not to worry about it. Now, you want him to get the reps, but if we're being truthful here, you don't want to see either of those guys get into the games this year, because if that happens, then we're having a different conversation. I mean, like last year.
Exactly. I mentioned, I think last week or the week before, Chase, about Titans training camp. Once the quarterbacks or whatever position gets their pads on those shoulders, we're going to know who's going to make progression and who isn't, who's going to be separated from the boys and the men. And, I mean, from what the coordinators and coaches have all said, they're showing signs of progression, both of them, which is a good thing to know and a good thing to hear. So on that note, it takes the pressure off of Will Levis to have to really, over excel on those, I guess, goals that Titans fans, and also coaches want him to hit. Like you just said it. Yes, hit those goals, but at the same time, take the pressure off a little bit. Just take it a slow process. Hold the clipboard.
Here was Will Levis on having a good day and having confidence.
I know there's always daily ups and downs, Will, but still, anytime like you have a day like today where you had the back-to-back TD passes, nice little boost of confidence, make you feel like you're making some strides.
Yeah, I mean, every time, like I missed a throw over the middle the other day, it's like you don't think about it, but then you end up going back and rewatching it for the dozenth time that night and figuring out, like, hey, what could I have done better just to make that throw not happen the next time? And you're an NFL quarterback. You're never supposed to miss that throw, But then you come out and you get string some good plays together, and you regain that confidence. And I think that definitely helped me a little bit.
It's funny when I listen to clips like that, and then Vrabel talk about him, in his first training camp as a rookie. I kind of think about, all right, what's going to be the conversation a year from now? What's going to be the conversation 2 years from now? 3, 4, is he still on this team 4 years from now? Or is he a franchise quarterback? Are we talking about him in the same breath as some of the, these tier 1 guys? When the tiers comes out, here in a couple of years, where is he? I don't know. I think that's the honest answer right now is we have no idea. But it's fun to watch him grow right now. It's fun to watch Malik Willis, continue to grow. And if I'm Ryan Tannehill, I know my spot right now, but I kind of paying attention too because they may see enough in this training camp, barring any kind of a Super Bowl win or something like that, that they go, okay, we feel confident turning the keys over to the young kids and letting Ryan move on. But it's still very, very early in that process. But I think it's fun to think about, are we talking about Will Levis in a different breath here in a year or two, as the franchise guy that the Titans have coveted for so long? Time will certainly tell. I know that one thing that I've seen out of him too is you can tell that there's been, and he talked about it there, of making certain throws that you have to make as an NFL quarterback. Mike Vrabel was asked yesterday about how Levis has done putting a little more touch on his passes.
Mike, how do you think Will Levis has done in terms of making a mistake and then going over it, whether it's with the film or in the meeting room, and then coming back out and working on whatever the mistake was the first time?
I think everybody does that, and that's what we ask him to do, whether it's, Ryan today had one behind, D-Hop, and so, he'll come out tomorrow and spot a couple of those throws up to DeAndre. Will's going to do the same thing with the things that Timmy and Charles and Pat will talk to him about this afternoon, and Malik will do the same thing. So I think they all, everybody I think is coachable. I think that's something that I love about this team is that they are coachable. We're going to try to coach as much as we can and then get them to the game and let them go.
A classic Mike Vrabel answer, though, doesn't want to answer about the individual, so he lumps them all together when the question was clearly about an individual, and it was Will Levis. And it's just there are times where I'm like, Mike, just answer the question. Or just say I don't want to answer the question. But, you could tell there was the pause and there was the, that because he doesn't like to make it about individuals, but I don't think there was anything wrong with the question. Jared was asking specifically, and it was complimenting of, hey, when you see him do something, what stands out about how he handles the mistake? There's nothing wrong with that question, but he has to lump everybody together because that's what Mike does, and that's his prerogative as the head coach. Coming up next is today, practice going on right now, the most important day at camp so far. And I'll tell you why I'm asking that question. Coming up next, Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Announcer of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We are changing the game. Help your bets stay hot this summer at Superbook Sports. They are the most trusted name in sports betting with a direct line to Las Vegas. Right now, when you use the promo code CHASE, that's my name, you score up to $250 with their first bet bonus, win or lose. Superbook will match your first bet up to $250 simply by using my name, Chase, in the promo code slot. They have everything under the sun. Download the app. Got baseball tonight. You got Champions League that you can bet on, and soccer, obviously the Women's World Cup going on right now. They have a tab for Tennessee teams. They at the very top of it, Titans +3 on the road against New Orleans to start the season. It is that simple, and they'll even give you baseball games that are close to the area. They have over under 7.5 wins for the Titans, -120 for the over. For wins this year, I would lean on that. You can get it all at the Superbook Sports app. And again, use Chase in the promo code win, and you'll get $250 courtesy of Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Your home reflects you, your style, your choices. That's why purchasing a home is not just financially significant, it's personal too. At F&M Mortgage, we understand clients need a loan that's just as personal, one that fits you with service from a local lender who lives right here. Yes, we offer competitive rates and low closing costs, but we also know home financing should be more than just numbers. Come see us at one of our branches or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Men, this is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. If you're suffering with erectile dysfunction or other sexual health issues, you need to know that there is no one-size-fits-all treatment because everyone's made differently. That's why our urologists and medical providers offer a broader array of treatment options and can even combine or adjust treatments for greater effectiveness. ED can result from aging, low testosterone, prostate issues, underlying medical conditions, and more. And understanding why you have ED is the first step in treating the condition. That's why you need to know your numbers and understand what other factors might be contributing, and then work with an expert to treat it. And that's where we shine. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we have protocols that are effective in nearly 90% of cases, which means we'll likely find the right treatment for you and you can get your sex life back. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices to serve you, Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
Midstate Sports summer registration is going on now. Adults can register as an individual or bring their whole team for softball, sand volleyball, soccer, flag football, kickball, and basketball. For more info, visit midstatesports.com. It's no debate. Play Midstate.
Check, check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is back in Nashville August 4th through 6th and is a must-see experience that has something for everyone to enjoy. 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan has all your coverage leading to the race, including driver interviews with Chase McCabe, ticket giveaways, and much more.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds return to start a 6-game series against Durham.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
The suit is in the building.
3-hour lunch, 3-hour lunch, 3-hour lunch.
3 hours. Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What are the most important things you want to try to accomplish over the other hours during the day when you guys are sort of on the building?
Continue to move through with the installation. Tomorrow we'll start to, we'll give them a script tonight and understand that, give them a game plan, like a mock game plan, like, okay, this is what we're going to have up. We've got 5 days in installation. Not all those plays will be up. Go home, study these plays. These are the plays in the first and second down, different personnel. So this will be our third down package. And starting to understand that and see how they respond tomorrow to not having a script and looking at it in the morning and knowing, oh, I got this play, I'm lining up here. I think this is going to be a huge day for us that we had today, which was great, and then tomorrow, taking that next step of going out and just playing the game, coming from the sideline. That's what we'll probably do tonight, and then obviously moving on to the other situations later in the week.
Mike Vrabel after practice yesterday about what he wants his team to do when they're not on the practice field. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, 102.5 The Game has your chance to win single-day passes to the Bourbon and Beyond Festival in Louisville, Kentucky, Thursday, September 14th through Sunday, September 17th. Just text in the word KEYS, K-E-Y-S, now to 615-737-1025 for your chance to win a pair of passes to the Saturday show that features, you guessed it, the Black Keys, the Black Crows, and the Avett Brothers, and more. So do that now. Text KEYS to 615-737-1025 for your chance to win. Before I get to what Mike Vrabel just said, looking through Twitter, about 10 minutes ago, Teron Davenport said a little extracurricular after practice. Jeffrey Simmons and Jamarco Jones get together after the play. Ben Arthur follows up. Simmons and Jones were instructed to leave the field. Simmons off to the side. Jones headed inside. So there you go. Jeffrey Simmons is and Teron just put this out there. Jeffrey Simmons is still working in the sandpit after his pushing match with Jamarco Jones. The DTs are now Jaden Peavy and Tyler Shelvin. So Jeffrey Simmons sentenced to the sandpit. There you go. Mike Vrabel made it pretty clear.
I can't help but laugh.
Them's the rules.
I love it.
But you know what? Like, if anybody, like, I'm glad it's him. Like, pissed off for greatness. I like that. And Jamarco Jones, I mean, that's another guy when we talk about the offensive line. You know, they signed him last year that we don't really know anything about because he was hurt. So you want some of that tenacity. You don't want to cross the line, but you want a little of that tenacity, and Jeffrey Simmons finds himself in the sandpit. So there you go. Them's the rules. Them's the rules, Nick. Can't forget those. But Mike Vrabel said, you know, they're going to do a mock game plan. And, you know, kind of been reading through Twitter, you know, with the team period that they have going on. I wanted to see how guys responded to that. How much homework were they doing? Were they ready to go? And I'm sure Vrabel will address some of that you could tell who knew what was going on, who still has work to do, you know, how they were able to do that, because the install period of all the plays, which is what they're going through right now, is extremely important. And then finding out how quickly you can install certain things, because – you know, even though the offense, for instance, has changed, it's going to be a little more up-tempo. You know, they've been putting some stuff in since the spring, but there's still concepts and plays that they've done in the past. And so some things are going to be quicker than others, but you want to see how, you know, retention is and how quickly some of these guys can master, you know, the plays and what they're trying to do. So that's why I kind of looked at today, you know, as, all right, first test at that. Let's see what it looks like. And, you know, based on what I've read, I mean, there's been obviously some good and some bad. But that stuff, I mean, how quickly you can master something is very, very important. Tier Tart is going to join Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace after practice today. So one of my favorites, looking forward to that, as he is he's a player that I think he's going to get paid quite a bit this year, and I hope it's here. But so Tier Tart will join Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace when practice is done. So when I mentioned the retention and, you know, where this team is at and how quickly they can master things, it all goes into, you know, how they're going to combat this schedule. I did a couple of radio hits. You know, we're doing our team previews. Other radio stations around the country are doing team previews about what are the Titans. And, you know, the national narrative continues to be the Titans aren't going to be very good. And obviously me being here and watching it, I'm like, I wouldn't go that, you know, I wouldn't, not so fast, my friend, because the schedule is favorable. Not going to say it's easy, not going to say it's weak. It's favorable. I just said, you know, in the Superbook read, they have the win total at 7.5, but the juice is to the over at -120. I think they hit that over. I mean, 9-10 wins to me is not out of the realm of possibility. And so, you know, I feel like I can back that up more. Like if I see a team that, you know, they're installing stuff and they're coming out and they're, you know, you're seeing Tannehill looking good and Hopkins continue to look the part, Treylon Burks continue to look the part. Christian Fulton, who if you missed that interview yesterday, was very, very good. Kind of talked about this is he said something yesterday that I almost ran off the road, that it hit me so hard, of that this is the first time in his career that he's come into a camp healthy, that he's just felt like he can focus on what he needs to focus on and not, healing something. That his rookie year, coming out the national championship with LSU, combine stuff, he was kind of banged up, but this is the first time that he hasn't felt banged up, going into camp. And so if that's the case, then maybe he can take a step forward. But I digress. And actually, here was let's play that clip. Skip the Fitz one. This was Christian Fulton on injuries and his motivation in this year.
Christian Fulton is with us. You mentioned the groin injury. That's kind of been something over the past couple of years. The hamstring, groin, you've struggled to stay on the field. How has that kind of fueled you going into this season to stay healthy, going into a really pivotal year for your contract here in Tennessee?
It's fueled me a lot because I know what I can do when I'm on the field. I play really well to help the team. I do my job, and it was just frustrating going through those things because I want to be out there and I couldn't be out there. So, I just had to take accountability on myself on what I could do better. In the off season. And, just talking with the trainers, and seeing what they can help me with, with them implementing some things, that could help me out a lot. Going into practice, going into games, just the smallest things, what I could be better at. So it's, accountability on all parts, that we took that approach on.
That was Christian Fulton yesterday after practice with Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. And, again, if all of this has to come together, but he's a key part of that. And he's gotten work. I was listening to, Robbie and Rexroad break it down this morning. He's gotten, against Traylon Burks, DeAndre Hopkins, he's getting the test of going up against those top two, and I think that's going to be a good thing, as they move into the season. Coming up next, all three coordinators spoke earlier this morning. We're going to bring you a little bit of that. Craig Aukerman, Tim Kelly, and Shane Bowen on kind of what they're seeing out of the team so far. We'll do that next. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. And I want to tell you, Nashville Sounds Baseball back tonight, 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan, pregame at 6:20. The Sounds will take on the Durham Bulls, AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan is presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This week at the Electronic Express Summer Clearance Sales Event, get instant savings of up to 40% off in every department, including all 4K TVs, laptops and tablets, housewares, gaming consoles, speakers, and more. At Electronic Express, we have up to 50% off all major appliances in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, purchase now, pay later with up to 5-year special financing. Shop the Summer Clearance Event at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
What's up? It's Chase McCabe, and I have been telling you about PhD Weight Loss for several weeks now, the program created by Dr. Ashley Lucas, the best-selling author. Listen, overall, I'm down about 25 pounds, and this is a great program because losing weight is not easy. That's why you have one-on-one coaching sessions. I talk to Rachel each week. She's great. She works me through my program, gives me what I need. We adjust my diet as we go. And that is how I'm getting the results, and you can too. With that weekly one-on-one coaching, you get the customized meal plans. And here's the cool part about this. If you choose to use their food, 85% of the food is provided for you at no extra charge. And the food is great. I love the cereals, the protein bars, the shakes, but they can also teach you how to use your own food as well. And remember, their new offer guarantee, if you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight, by the time your program is over, PhD will continue to coach you until you do. That is their offer guarantee. MyPhDWeightLoss.com is the website. Check it out, MyPhDWeightLoss.com.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait. You do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats, all shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable, but for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hello, whoever it is going to be.
You want to weigh in on anything that we're talking about on today's show? Hit us up on our phone and text line at 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
The Game Summer Ticket Tour is headed to Streetcar Taps and Garden, located at 4916 Charlotte Pike, this Thursday afternoon from 11 till 6. Be there with both the midday and afternoon show. Come eat, drink, and hang, and leave with a pair of free sounds, Preds, Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, or concert tickets. You can also get signed up for the grand prize, which is Titans tickets, Preds tickets in the 501 Club, and a 2-night stay at Opryland Hotel with access to sound waves. Black Tie Moving delivers the Game Summer Ticket Tour. For more details, visit thegamenashville.com/tour. Chase McCabe here with you in the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Earlier today, all three coordinators, Craig Aukerman, the special teams coordinator, Shane Bowen, the defensive coordinator, and Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator, talked to the media. We're going to play a little bit of each of them, starting with Craig Aukerman, because, listen, you guys know, I'm worried about kicker. I need to know what's going on with the kicker. Here's a little bit of Craig Aukerman.
So, Craig, so early, but how are you liking the competition between Caleb and Trey?
Yeah, it's been really good. Obviously, in the off season, they did a really good job competing against one another. We gave them a few things each to work on, during that 5 weeks off, and we think they've kind of picked up and actually even gotten any better since they've gotten here. So we'll let this competition roll out as long as it needs to, but we're excited about both of them. Yeah, I mean, we're trying a bunch of different guys right now. This is obviously a big period for us as far as putting on pads. Everyone kind of looks good in, shorts, running around, doing their thing, catching balls. But, kickoff returner, we'll put Tajay back there, Hassan, Julius Chestnut. It'll be a bunch of guys that'll get that opportunity. And then punt returner, obviously, Kyle Phillips, Mason Kinsey. We got some guys back there that we feel pretty good about, and it was good to have both those guys, with Mason and Kyle going back there and competing against each other. So we'll see how it all plans out during training camp.
In terms of Kyle, what you talked about last time in terms of confidence and kind of clearing his mind last year, has that happened so far? Has there been any issues in terms of handling the ball or anything?
No, he's actually done a really good job. It was big in the summer just to get away from things, and I know one of his big things was he was going to go out there and catch punts, all the time out in the summer. So he's came back with a good level of confidence, and, we'll continue to put more pressure on him during practice and then give him opportunities in the preseason to see what he can do.
When you're evaluating kickers, and it seems to be pretty close to these markers.
Yeah.
What are you looking at beyond just he made this many kicks versus he made?
Yeah. Yeah, because, a lot of people just say, well, he made this amount of kicks and he should win the job. We're looking at a bunch of different things. Leg strength, we're looking at how accurate the ball is, how straight it is, because when you hit a straight ball, depending on wind and things like that, we want a guy who can hit a straight ball so the wind doesn't play too much of a factor in it. So there are different levels than other just making, hey, I made 90% to 88%. So we look at all those different things. Tom Quinn's done a great job with those guys right now, and he'll continue to evaluate those guys, as long as myself.
Ryan obviously had a monster rookie year, set a bunch of records and stuff. What has he evolved? How has he evolved taking that jump heading into year 2?
Yeah, there's things that he can always improve on, and one of the things that we were talking with him was his hang time. It's not always hitting the ball 70, 75 yards, which looks pretty, by the way, but we also need some hang time. So he's really tried to focus in on that. And, depending on where we're at on the field, it could be a ball that goes 70 yards, but he's got to know the situation that we're in where we could want a ball that's 50 yards with over 5-second hang time. So he's really honed in on that, and he'll continue to improve because the best part about Ryan is he's never satisfied, whether it's his holding, whether it's his punting, and he'll continue to work on that, and I'm excited for him this year.
That's Craig Ackerman, special teams coordinator for the Titans, as he addressed the media earlier this morning. As a lot of questions with special teams going into camp that they're trying to get answered, including kicker and return game, all those things. Quick report from camp. Christian Fulton comes up limping after covering DeAndre Hopkins on a deep pass down the left side, went off the field instead of returning to the huddle. So that's not good. So hopefully everything is okay with him. Apparently Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins, that connection continues. Fulton was back on the field, according to Paul Kaharski, for some field goal work. So that is good news there. Speaking of defense, here's defensive coordinator Shane Bowen.
There's been a lot of talk about not only just getting to the quarterback this year, but getting the ball out. Is that maybe the primary focus, at least for the defensive front this year?
Absolutely. Think a strip sack's better than sack always. 24 of the top 26 fumblers in the NFL are quarterbacks. We got to find ways to affect the game. And the front has a way they can do it. The back end has a way they can do it. The linebackers have a way they can do it. And up front, it is putting pressure on them and seeing if we can get the ball off them, right? And back end plays a role too. They got to get them to hold it. They got to be in tight coverage, all the things that come into play. But those are opportunities we can't miss. Like we've missed too many over the years where we've had opportunities to attack the football instead of just going for the sack at times. And we got to make sure we're making an emphasis that the ball is the issue. Like, the sacks will come, but we need to make sure we're attacking the football.
It seems like Christian Fulton is a little more consistent this camp. Have you noticed anything different mentally, physically, or even that he's been more consistent? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think he came back ready to go. I think this is probably the best shape he's been in since he's been here. Looks stronger, looks more physical, looks in condition. I think the addition of Hopkins is huge for him too, just the competition aspect of it. Again, it's always been for Christian, and we tell him this, it's the consistency, right? Play in and play out, and to have that competition play in and play out here in practice, it requires a high level of focus, right, to be able to go out and execute and do what we're asking him to do and ultimately end up winning your one-on-one versus a guy like that. So hopefully that continues with him. He's off to a great start right now. It's a big year for him. He knows that. We know that. So hopefully it continues.
How do you coach a guy like Arden Key, whose personality seems to be on all the time?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to coach guys like that. Guys with energy, guys that bring other guys with them. Said it before, like the great ones want to be coached. The guys with great energy, great enthusiasm, like those are the guys that you feel like you can go to and coach at all times, right? The ones that are standoffish, quiet to themselves, mopey at times, those are the ones that are a little bit harder to coach, right? So we embrace that. We encourage that as much as we can. And when he's in the meeting room, you see the energy, you see all that stuff. It doesn't go away, right? But there is a level of focus and intention with what we're trying to get accomplished when we're in the meeting room as well.
That was Shane Bowen, Titans defensive coordinator, talking about some of the things going on in camp. And, again, they're wrapping practice up, or not wrapping it up yet, but towards the end. Let's see. Couple of field goal updates. John Glennon says Wolf was good, 7 of 8, misses from 46, but does like the leg strength. So that's a one to keep a note of. And Christian Fulton looks to be fine. So that's also a good thing to put out there. And finally, the offense. Here's new offensive coordinator Tim Kelly.
Just one day in pads, but how you evaluate what you're seeing from your guys up front so far, and what's most important moving forward?
Yeah, being consistent. Obviously, the being able to protect the quarterback and make sure that we're doing a good job getting movement in the run game. Those things will never change when we're looking at our offensive linemen and kind of what we ask for them and what we expect for them. And obviously that goes along with playing hard and being able to set the tone and bring the energy and bring the physicality that we're going to need.
On those second-year skill guys, how much more comfortable do they look just at not being their rookie year and kind of understanding the pace that you guys go through practice and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about this before, and really at every position there's a learning curve from coming from college and playing in the NFL, from what it takes, what it means to be in shape to be able to make it through an NFL practice, from what it means to actually, learn the playbook and know what your job is and things along those lines. So all those guys from Malik to Kyle to Traylon to Chig, they've all done a good job. Obviously learning the lessons from last year and coming out and performing, pretty well for us so far.
We talk about the passing game so much, but how important is it for you to stick to the fact that Derrick Henry has been the focal point of this offense, over the last 5 or so years?
Yeah, it'd be foolish of me to not play to our strengths. You know what I mean? And obviously having Derrick here, we got to make sure that we're putting him in the best spot to be able to continue to have the high level of success that he's had throughout his career. That's something that we're working on as a staff, and that's something that we're not going to forget is understanding who we are and kind of what the backbone is of our identity.
With that being
on those second-year skill guys, how much more comfortable do they look just at not being their rookie year and kind of understanding the pace that you guys go through practice?
That was a little bit of Tim Kelly earlier this morning, the offensive coordinator for the Titans. Wanted to bring you some of that as all three talked. And, again, our training camp coverage as Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace are going to be out there here in just a few minutes, is presented by the Simmons Bank Open, Permanent Energy, and coordinators. Put a bow on things. Again, Tierra Tart going to join Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace today here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Here we go, in and out of the huddle.
Training camp is underway in the Music City.
We want to try to make sure that we're developing a team.
And we have you covered.
Could Peter Skoronsky be an option at tackle?
How quickly can DeAndre Hopkins get going? We'll be broadcasting live from training camp with the latest news and storylines from practice.
Ryan Tannehill in the last year of a contract. It's a different team. It's a different roster.
Training camp coverage is brought to you by the Simmons Bank Open, Caudill Vet Clinic, and Parman Energy on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com. Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Tonight, I've got a bonfire at the lake with friends. First, I need a spritz of my off clean feel. My summer style is all about fun and not about... I don't need Mosquito Bite Red clashing with this crochet top. It's purple, it's bright. I could definitely pair it with my amethyst eyeshadow palette. The best part is, ugly mosquitoes won't be messing with my fiery vibes. With Off Clean Feel, I've got 8 hours of not sticky, fragrance-free protection. Get your pre-party protection on with Off Clean Feel. SC Johnson, a family company.
It's the latest social networking thingy.
We are all over social media. Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame. You can follow me at ChaseOnGame. Also on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville and at the Chase McCabe. See, aren't we cool?
Chase McCabe on 1025 and 1063 The Game.
You view things from a national perspective, but also Nashville. We claim you for sure. What is kind of your thoughts on the Titans now that they've added DeAndre Hopkins? They still have Henry, Ryan Tannehill going into this season. How do you view them?
I think the national media hasn't watched any Titans football. I said this even when I worked for ESPN, so it's not post-ESPN. I think some of the takes on the Titans right now are just absolute hot garbage. They are always a competitive football team. They lost some games last year down to the wire that I think they should have won. I know everybody's sold on the Jags. I think here's the thing to me. You got to win the South to make the playoffs. I don't think there's going to be a wild card spot available in this division. So you got to win the division. But DeAndre Hopkins is a huge addition. I still think that Ryan Tannehill is a good enough quarterback to win these sorts of games. To me, they pattern in as a 9-8 sort of team. Can that get them the division? It's going to depend on what happens with the Jags. But one or two things break the right way for the Titans. They win the division. I would be stunned if the Titans end up where everybody keeps saying they will, which is in the bottom third of the NFL this year. There's too many players on the roster that are too good. The coach is too good. The system is too good. They are too competitive as a team. I think they're a heck of a lot closer to winning their division than they are to being in the basement of the league where ESPN constantly projects them.
That was Jason Fitz yesterday on our show. Appreciate him for joining us. Titans practice wrapping up here soon. And again, Tierre Tart will join Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. So looking forward to that conversation. As I've decided we're going to have to get a sound effect for this. But so Jamarco Jones and Jeffrey Simmons got into it a little bit. A little shoving match is how it was described on Twitter. And I know Derek's out there and Caroline's out there, so maybe they can talk about it a little bit more. But both were sentenced to the sand pit of doom. That's what we're going to call it now, the sand pit of doom. As Mike Vrabel talked about earlier, of setting the tone. And if you missed it, this was can we get that Mike Vrabel's comments? Jill Jelnick asked the question yesterday about just not wanting fights in practice and kind of sending the message, so to speak.
Players mentioned that they didn't want to get in any scruffs or fights because they'll be sent straight to the sand pit. Is that something you kind of addressed ahead of time, and did you like that battle?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's lazy. I think it's, that's dumb that hurts the team. You get thrown out of a game, and so you throw a punch in the game, they're going to throw you out of the game. New York's going to review it, and they're going to remove you from the game. So we might as well practice those things now, and try to make it an emphasis that go as hard as you want. Don't throw a punch. Don't be the second guy. They're going to see the second guy retaliate and be a 15-yard penalty. So you might as well practice the way we're hopefully going to play.
That was Mike Vrabel yesterday. And look, I like it. Send the message. Have a little tenacity too. Jeffrey Simmons isn't, going to put up with anything, and he's gonna dish it out. He's gonna bring that juice, so to speak. And if he ends up getting some extra work in the sand pit of doom, then that's what it is. But so Jamarco Jones, Jeffrey Simmons in the sand pit of doom today. I feel like we can have this effect with my voice, and it's like deeper, and it's got an echo and like a dun dun dun. It's like Darth Vrabel.
Exactly, Darth Vrabel
Sentencing them to the sand pit of doom. Cracks me up, but I'm fine. on that. Texter asks, is there an update on Farley? Is he practicing? He is not. He's on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. I went on a show yesterday and was talking about the secondary, and I mentioned Caleb Farley, and I'm like, I don't know if we'll ever see him in a Titans uniform again. And I thought about that later. I'm like, do I truly think that? I think I do. I mean, I just don't know. Like, I just don't even feel like he's on the team. He's barely played. He's been hurt. He was hurt when they drafted him. I think it's going to turn out to just be a wasted pick. And a lot of people thought it was going to be a wasted pick. That's why teams passed on him. But no, he's not. He is not practicing.
That type of pick for me in a draft reminds me of like fantasy drafts where you just reach him for a guy. Like, for example, I had my fantasy draft this past weekend, and everybody's telling me the running back out of Texas A&M, the speedy Devon, I believe his last name is Aikney, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, I drafted him as my 10th overall pick in the first round, and people are like, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. Kind of same thing here with Caleb Farley possibly.
Yeah, by the way, so we always joke in sports radio, like when you mention your fantasy team, and I'm not picking on you. This is what a lot of people do, that you mention your fantasy team, and it's like nobody cares about your fantasy team. It's just, but everybody has one. I think I've decided that I'm not going to do fantasy football this year.
What?
Because I focus, like on Sundays, I don't pay attention to it because I'm paying attention to my bets. Like, I would rather focus, because I love touchdown props. So I'd rather focus on doing that and, the games I have or parlays I have. And, I'd just rather that have my focus than my fantasy team, because I hardly ever win, at fantasy or finish in the money. And I got to a point where I had like 4 teams and it was just way too much and it was just exhausting. And then last year, I think I only did one and I barely paid attention to that one. And I'm like, why even waste the time? I'll take that $20 and put it on a game, or whatever it is.
That's valid.
I've been in some leagues where it's more than that, but it's like I'm just, I just don't care about it as much anymore. I mean, we'll talk about it. I mean, there's a lot of you that still do, but
right.
We'll talk about it. But I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm like, I just don't think I'm going to do it anymore. Just, I haven't told like my friends that, so they're here. They might be hearing this going, really? Well, you didn't tell us that. So, because I'll tell you another thing too. A few years ago, I ran a league. I will never do that again.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Never do that again, because you got to chase people down to pay, and then people don't pay, and then when somebody wins, you got to pay, and it's just like I'm not doing that anymore. So, Easton Freeze says Will Levis back out with the twos. So Levis getting some work with the second team. First play, a pass across the middle to Racey McMath, identical to his first pass to Mason Kinsey that was dropped earlier. Completion for a nice gain. So Levis getting some work with the twos. That was off play action too. Then he hands off to Spears. Deep completion to Roberson. Back corner to Roberson for a touchdown. So looks like Will Levis having another nice day at training camp. Terry McCormick says Levis looks good in his first work with the twos. Touchdown pass to Reggie Roberson. So it took until today, about a week into camp, for him to start getting work with the second team. I mean, I want to see, him and Willis trade reps. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Trade those opportunities. I can't wait for preseason though. Like, I am pumped for the first preseason game, because I just want to see the quarterbacks. I want to see those two rotate. When they open up their preseason at Chicago, which will be on the 12th. It's funny, I'll be in Chicago this weekend. I'm doing Cubs Braves at Wrigley, but going to miss it by a week when the Titans go to Soldier Field. So a 12 o'clock kickoff on Saturday the 12th, and we'll see a lot of Will Levis and a lot of Malik Willis, and probably none of Ryan Tannehill.
Exactly. Talking back about the Levis taking reps with the second team today. Yeah, I feel like you're going to see a lot of that throughout training camp and obviously throughout the preseason. I mean, if you've listened to all the pressers today, all these coordinators and coaches have all just harped on competition and confidence and growth. And throughout confidence, you're going to get growth if you have to do one of those two things. So you're going to see a lot of fluctuation between the 2s and the 3s, between Levis and Willis. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Texter Chris from McEwen says, "To hell with fantasy football. Be a man." Okay.
Thanks for the confident words.
Yeah, there you go. Chris is also the same guy that I guess earlier this morning texted twice, "Titans suck. Sell and move the team. Waste the money." Okay. Well,
we're not the Oakland Athletics.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you, Chris, but that's fine. Must not be not a football fan. Is that what it is?
Sounds like it.
How does playing fantasy football not make you a man? I don't understand that.
I just feel like it's a good way to pass some leisurely time in your spare time. That's kind of what I'm looking at it as.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
I was going to say, have you ever been in a league that has like a belt or something? There's some sort of ring involved?
No, and I thought about that with the one I ran, and then was so just like I never want to do this again that it never got to that point. But I know people that have that they trade the belt around every year, and put like a
little plaque or something.
Yeah.
My buddy is doing that in one of his other leagues. I'm like, really? So he actually invested in it. So he's a big league watcher. That TV show on Hulu. So he's trying to invest into something like that.
That is going to do it for us. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, though, they are on deck. Willie with the rest of the week off. He is on vacation. So Caroline and D-Mace live today at training camp. They'll be joined by Tier Tart as he'll talk about today's practice. Sounds like it's been a little spirited today as the sand pit of doom came into play a couple of times. We'll be back at it 9 o'clock tomorrow, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players. I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk.